is important for faith leaders to state clearly that they are inclusive of LGBT people. And it's important because otherwise, if you don't say that you're inclusive, you won't have LGBT families or students, etc., wanting to come to that religious place. And plus, it just shows that solidarity with each community. So I think that's important.
They should clearly say that they're inclusive and that LGBT people are welcome in the church or in the mosque or any faith building, so it's clearly shown.
Religious spaces should make it very clear that they're inclusive if they are. I think like on a website, the two most important things anyone wants to know about your religious space is what time you meet and whether you're inclusive or not. And I think quite a lot of spaces, they'll put something wishy-washy like we include everyone, everyone's welcome, but actually what does that mean? I think it needs to be clear that LGBT people are just as welcome as everyone else and they can serve just as much as everyone else, and then you're bound to get tons more people through your doors.
Faith leaders should also address LGBT people in ceremonies/testimonies, just because it's just important to be inclusive of everyone, because you never know who's entering your church, your mosque, your synagogue, whatever. You don't know who's entering it, so it's always good to make sure that you're relating to other people's lived experience and just not exclusively straight couples, cis couples, because there's such a wide range of people, and so it's just important that you're making sure that you're telling their stories as well.
A lot of the time it's heteronormative, and I don't think it should be. I think LGBT people do exist, and I think that should be shown.
You might not always realise that you're not addressing certain people, so I think it's really important that religious leaders are mindful about who they're talking to or who they potentially could be talking to, and just trying to create more inclusive teaching and spaces.
Specific groups and spaces for LGBT plus people, so they can be part of the faith and part of who they are as the community of being LGBT. They should help to work on making an inclusive community, not just for leaders, because I think people within the church should be able to be inclusive as well as the leaders, because otherwise the person's not going to feel included in the space. And I think we should actually be able to speak and listen. Faith leaders should be able to listen to LGBT people and be able to talk openly about it and not hide away and have a stigma behind it.
Should work on making the community fully inclusive and being brave enough to have conversations with their community, even if the outcomes might not be exactly what they wanted. A phrase that I've heard before is that bad theology kills, and I think that's so true, because if you don't talk about it, people will maybe assume the worst, and that can have disastrous consequences on people. So I think that communities need to be brave enough to sit down, have a discussion, talk about their misconceptions, and work together on creating a more inclusive environment. Religious institutions and spaces should listen to and let LGBT people lead when it comes to working on inclusion. There's nothing worse than having the least diverse person ever standing at the front and just telling everyone how to be inclusive. We need LGBT voices to be taking a central role in religion when it comes to including people, and we should listen to them about how to go forward in including people from diverse communities.